Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Iotx. And just before we do, we'll take a quick peek at Bitcoin, of course, because I think it's important to kind of understand a little bit more about what's going on with that. And as you can see here, obviously, we're doing fairly well. The price is kind of consolidating out right between 64 to 65,000. And ultimately, we're looking good here as well. And this is a big key indicator I like, is the 4-hour moving. Basically, on the 4-hour chart, rather, we have a 50-day simple moving average that's working as a potential support now as well. In other words, in 45 minutes, we'll have this 4-hour candlestick close, and if it closes above, that would be very helpful, so we can kind of get that forward momentum to the upside from Bitcoin. But I like the fact that moving average is kind of working as a potential support, and the 200 is trailing behind as well, right around 62,000. So I think we're in good shape here. We shouldn't expect to see the price come much lower here, because it does look like it's also breaking the trend that it was forming. That kind of to the downside there, and I think we're in pretty good shape. So all good stuff here for Bitcoin. All right, so on to Iotx, and also too, just to kind of throw it out there, if you are new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination, but I can tell you that I've been trading for over 15 years, and I love teaching people how to become better traders. It's just something that I love doing, and obviously that's the reason for these videos. That's the reason I have a trading community as well. Check that out in your own time, of course, but I send out signals for every single trade that I take to my members, so you can kind of follow along if you want. But more importantly, kind of learn what it's like to be a trader, right? And at least how to structure your trades and how to take profits. Those are things that I think a lot of people that are newer to the industry need to learn. So check that out in your own time. The price is increasing month in, so I definitely recommend registering this month. There are limited slots available. Now, taking a look at the one-day chart here, pretty straightforward, right? We've got the price up above both supports. So both the support and resistance levels I drew out before, which are based on Fibonacci retracement, of course, right about 18.5 and about 22 cents. Those both been broken in the last 24 to 48 hours. So awesome stuff since the last time I covered this. We're up over 70 on the RSI, and you can see 70 worked as a support level here, which is awesome. And that's kind of coalescing with 18.5, right? So oftentimes you can find 70 on the RSI or 50 on the RSI as a major support or resistance level on the charts itself. In this case, it looks like 18.5 is reflective of that. So it's safe to presume that 18.5 has become a very strong support level. You can see it closed above 2 days in a row. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, we got the moving averages kind of working their way up. They're not relevant for the moment, but eventually they may be. So that's a really good sign there. Furthermore, let's take a look at the cloud on the 1-hour chart and kind of see what's going on. As you can see, nice. I love it. This is awesome when this happens. The cloud basically, because as you can tell, as soon as it broke above right here, I think that's when I last covered it, it came down and pretty much has been riding the cloud the entire time. So that's awesome. That creates that nice little support system, and the price has ramped up ever since. So had I set an alert, which I should have, then as soon as it crossed this or basically stayed above, that would have been a reaffirmation of the fact that we are in good shape, especially with this support level here right around 18.5 holding. So all in all, future reference, 18.5 cents is a very strong support level. We have a secondary support, or more so a primary at about 22 cents, but we haven't really tested that one here recently, right? That was more of a resistance. So we'll see soon what happens, but we are right at this all-time high territory, because right about 25.7 cents was the highest point for Iotx, and we're creeping up on that right now as we speak. So just know when all-time highs are broken, crazy things can happen. So not saying you necessarily have to add to your position right now. I personally prefer to wait for prices to retrace a little bit, but this is a pretty strong little momentous trend, and Iotx has a tendency of not slowing down once it starts. So just bear that in mind as well. So taking a look, let's see here at TD sequential to see if we are overextended or where we're at. We're only at a 4 right now. So hypothetically, we've got like what, 5 to 9 hours left of potential bullish momentum, which is awesome. Because if you look back here at its history though, keep this in mind. ILTX has a tendency of jumping up to a 9 and then retracing and then jumping up to a 9 again, right? So look at this here. We got up to a 9 and come back down for a nice little reset. Count up to a 9, another reset, and then back up to a 3, and it got stunned out because it was just way past that standard deviation, right? We had too much going on for too long. So 2 little bull runs right there. We basically got 2.5 runs out of it. So hypothetically right now, we've got a 1 to a 7 consolidation and 1 to a 4. So this 4 very well could become a 9 and then retrace, right? And if that were to be the case, what that would look like would be something like this, where the price comes up to probably test one of these major resistance levels, and then to come down to the next major support. Right? It could even come down to here as well, but generally speaking, that's roughly what we're looking at. We could have a couple of different situations here. But what will happen though, in most cases, is what happens with resistance levels too. Is, in other words, this is a resistance right here, right, at about 26.4 cents. That's like the all-time high. So if we break that, it's common for the price to come past that and then come back down and consolidate right at the previous resistance, becoming a support level. Okay, so I would say to expect that to probably happen. I think that's more of a likelihood here for Iotx. But just bear this in mind, if it doesn't break its all-time high right now, which I'm kind of hoping happens, it comes up, it comes back down, consolidates at the next closest support, which is roughly 22 cents. And then what it does, it comes back up and creates a cup and handle pattern. And then we get a massive break to the upside. Now, commonly, most cup and handle patterns break upside and then come down, consolidate at the previous resistance, new support, and then take off. But one way or the other, I think the likelihood of it continuing past that point is pretty high. So I'm gonna speculate that Iotx will definitely break its all-time high either on this push or the next. I'm hoping for the next just so we can get a slightly better position right around 22 cents. So I'm gonna set my alert at 22. Actually, we'll go 23 just to be safe. That way I'm notified as soon as we cross that plane there. And then I can take another look at this here soon. So I might just cover Iotx again later today if I have the time. And obviously we get the right indications. But for right now, all good things. Worst case scenario, it keeps going up. Best case, it comes down, we buy the dip, and it goes up again to perform that cup and handle pattern. So all in all, very good stuff here for Iotx. And but bear in mind too, big picture for Iotx, let's go ahead and take a quick look at that, just so you know kind of roughly what we could see. Now bear in mind, this is based on only about 2 weeks of trading data. So in 2 weeks of trading, Iotx has increased a total of about 350%. So the likelihood of getting another 350% out of it right now, I think, is pretty low. But within the next week, because again, if you can kind of see, it has this, it's a somewhat of staircase pattern, right? It's kind of coming up. So if it kind of performs a similar function there, you know, the next leg up, so to speak, whenever that is, I think will be more like around 35 cents, and perhaps even a little bit higher. But for right now, we're going to work with that. We're going to say 35 for the next week. I think it's realistic for Iotx to hit 35 cents in the next week. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and draw out Fibonacci retracement lines again on that next chart to ensure we understand what that looks like more specifically. Because right now it's still working perfectly within the previous retracement lines that are created and established by this previous all-time high here, roughly at about 18.5. Okay. But again, I think 35 cents is fairly likely within the next week, possibly even month in, depending on how things progress. We might get somewhat of a retracement too, just based on the fact that it's kind of legged up twice in the last 2 weeks. So we'll see definitely what happens, but there's a lot of fundamentals going on here as well. So I'd recommend you do your own research. There's things going on in the back end that affect these charts that don't necessarily, you know, they impact it enough where sometimes an analysis like this doesn't necessarily help a tremendous ton. But I can tell you though that with it working within these Fibonacci retracement lines almost perfectly, there's it's definitely valid, and I do think that we're going to see some kind of breakout to the upside very, very soon. Might even do that right now. So hope you all the best if you are invested currently in Iotx. And if you're considering waiting for a better position, I think 23 cents between 22 and 23 would be a good place to add to your position. If the price resists out here at the highest point, we'll see here soon. So good luck, go get them. I hope that works out well for you. And obviously, don't be bashful. Check out my Patreon community. Feel free to reach out to me through social media. All that stuff's in the description below. And we'll be more than happy to get to know you better. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much again. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.